Friends, a very good morning to all of you. Let me introduce myself. I am Dr. Rakesh Wats. I am presently Professor and Head Department of Media Engineering at NITTTR Chandigarh. Let me start with a question to you. Friends, in today's scenario, what is the most critical question for our technical education system? What is the most critical issue for our technical education system? Or higher education in general? Anybody who would like to respond? Because my presentation is linked with it. I will introduce my topic later on because I want that you should be coming out on this issue. Updation of knowledge. Virul Gupta has said updation of making student to create anything from themselves, okay, of new things. Updation of new things. Very good. Gupta ji is saying. Anybody else? Updation, you are saying, of new things, lack of resources. Okay, fine. Anybody else?
To create interest among the students for the
Okay,
particular
very
subject.
important issue. Create interest amongst the students. Why students are not interested? Let me ask you a simple question. Why students are not interested?
Because they have their own priorities, including jobs and other things. And
Including the
probably
job.
they think that this subject will be important.
So they are worried about their jobs
Start from the day one.
from the day one.
Nowadays, this
So we
kind
can
of,
say if they are worried from the day one, even if when they have come to the technical education system, they need to learn, but they are worried about the job. If this is a
jobs.
big question, what's the issue about job? Why they are not getting job? Because you are on the right track. What I am
No, it is
expecting from
very
you.
competitive. No? Scenario
Pardon?
is today is very competitive.
Competitive. Absolutely, that's yes,
Scenario today is
competitive.
very competitive. Sir.
Okay. They are
Very limited
Gupta.
job vacancies are there.
Okay.
Many input, one output.
Okay. Any other issue due to which they are not getting jobs? Are they technically sound? Are they skilled to match the requirements of the world of work?
Actually, they should
Yes or no?
meet the requirement of those companies. Probably they don't require sound
That's the
technical
point.
persons. They may require some
So
other
what we are
type
saying,
of persons.
absolutely, what you are trying to say, absolutely taken point, taken care of. Many of you otherwise are writing in the chat box that they lack new skills. They lack skills even, some of them are saying. Definitely, these are the issues which are bothering us. Why they lack skills? No, industrial work related skills are not with them, absolutely not with them. Why they lack skills? Now, question is, why they lack skills? Are we not teaching them rightly? Are our inputs not sufficient to make them fetch a job? Mr. Gupta is saying yes, not sufficient. He is also saying our inputs are not sufficient. Then why our inputs are not sufficient? Because we are syllabus based. This is the question. Now I question you. We are teaching them based on the curriculum. I'm not talking of syllabus. I'm talking of curriculum. Curriculum is a broader word, and it comprises of all the type of learning experiences which we are giving to them. It may be including your curricular activities, professional development. All these are part of the curriculum. Syllabus is one part of the story, one part of curriculum only. I'm talking of total curriculum. If we are giving them the inputs based on curriculum, it means there is some problem with our curriculum. Am I right? Because we are unable to develop the right skills in them, which are needed by the company, which are needed by the world of work. On one side, we are saying that the skills are not there. On one side, we are saying we are trying to make our curriculum up to date. Or sometimes we say our curriculum, many a times when I go for NBA or NAC or something like that, we interact with the people. Many of teachers say our curriculum is quite up to date. We are making it up to date. In private institutions, especially, or private universities, they are saying we are making our curriculum very up to date. We are involving experts from industry, and most of the inputs are based on the industrial experts. If that is the case, most of the inputs are based on the industrial experts, most of the inputs are as per the requirements of the world. Still, the industry is saying they are not matching the word of work. Have we ever analyzed this issue? Experts and teachers are not updated most of the time. You are saying means even the experts are not updated, Mr. Gupta is saying. Even if experts are not updating, then definitely our curriculum is going to be not sufficient for them to make the requirements of the world. Let me tell you, this is the right issue which is need to be thought over. On one side, we are trying to say we are designing curriculum based on the industrial inputs, but what happens? We are calling industrial experts. There are teachers sitting, academicians are also sitting, experts from the industry are sitting. But how much involvement of industry? How much the total sector they are representing? The industry is so vast. We may be calling some experts from industry. They may be representing a very minute sector of the world of work. They are giving definitely new inputs which are required by them. But are those inputs sufficient to make them up to date? Are those inputs sufficient to match the requirements of the world of work? So, what are the issues which we need to take care of? If we are talking of the employment of our kids, which and we are saying this is the most important issue in today's world of technical education. On the other side, we are talking of quality. Quality is linked with this only. Why our curriculum is not important, being as per the requirements of this is most important. It means we are not getting the right inputs. We don't really know the right environment in which students are to go. If we are, let me tell you, you may give them less inputs, but it is very important for them to know where they are going to go, what type of environment that will be. They can learn on their own. They can learn something on their own. But inputs, whatever you may be given, those should be relevant to them. Whatever you may be given, let's say curriculum may be 100%, there are 10 topics. You may not cover 10 topics. Important is whatever you cover, this should be linked with the requirements of the world of work. On the other side, what we are running? We are running after completion of curriculum. For curriculum of syllabus, I may say. No, in this case, we are running for completion of syllabus. But we, in this race, we are not able to give them the right inputs, right type of experiences which are needed by them to work in world of work. Perhaps we don't know what is happening in the world of work. This is another question which is bothering us. Perhaps we really are not clear what is happening. Unless we are clear what is happening in the world of work, what type of inputs we will be giving, this is a big question mark. So let me start with this issue. What exactly is happening in this world? What exactly is happening in the market? What exactly is happening in the industrial field? Before I'm coming to the topic, let me talk something about what is happening in the world. Many of the things are known to you, but we have never gone into the deeper requirements of this type of scenario. What is this scenario? Let me show it to you. You all know it in verbal terms. After globalization or LPG, many changes have come, and these changes are very fast. This is known to you. And one of the most important changes is change in technology. You will agree with me on all these issues. What I am trying to pinpoint here. So, issue of fast changing technology. Perhaps in our technical education system, we know some of the changes which are coming in terms of technology in the world of work. Still, we are unable to match those technology. We are unable to give the right perspective about those technologies. Another issue, very stiff competition. As somebody of you pointed out, stiff competition is in one term in terms of the output from the system. बच्चे ज़्यादा हैं, उनकी requirement कम है. This is one stiff competition. But in business also there is very stiff competition. In market also there is very stiff competition. There are so many providers. They are all trying to pay quality products. They are all trying to give quality products. But competition is in terms of the cost. Whosoever is giving the cost and quality combination in right perspective, he is going to survive. Competition is not only in terms of the employment, competition is in terms of the market. And this is the different scenario. Students need to understand, in addition to producing a quality product, it should be cost effective also. How to do it? How we are to go for such a production in which quality is there and prices are also optimal. This is important to understand. Scenario is important. Your technology knowledge is important, but this combination of quality and prices, this is beyond technology. How to do it, this combination need to be understood. These are the requirements. This is one of the most important requirement of the word of work. First, I talked of the high quality products and that too at a reduced prices. How to do it? This is the combination we need to know. We need to tell the students because this is not technology here. Technology may be one part of the story. How high quality products at reduced prices. These are two different scenarios. And the potential employers, which our students are going to be, need to know this scenario, how to tackle this situation. Then I was giving you market has turned into a buyer's market. I don't know whether it was audible or not at that point. Here I was giving one example. Earlier the market was seller's market. I was giving example of Ambassador and Fiat car 50 years back. Whatever they were producing, it was selling like a hot cake. Even sometimes Fiat car was being sold at a premium price. They didn't change the models. They didn't change and make any much changes in the even engine. I think only a few years back, Ambassador changed the engine to Isuzu engine, but there were not many changes during that period of 50 years. But still, the things were being sold because there were not many producers at that time. Now, what is the scenario? Even in one segment, there may be 50, 30, 40 models. Even for one car model, there may be again 15 to 20 models with different attributes. So it sometimes becomes difficult for the buyer to identify which model suits him the best. So the market is buyer's market. We need to understand the brain of the buyer. This is not technology. This is different from technology. Are we teaching them these things? These are the things which are required by them. Another is availability of many models of products and customer is the king. Earlier, क्या कहते थे customer के बारे में? Customer. But now customer is definitely a king. Because there are so many models of products, it is the choice of the customer which is more important. Companies are running after the customers to sell their products, giving them different types of freebies, gifts, discounts, easy finance. All these things are now being given. Earlier, these were not part of the story. This is a different scenario than the past. Are we giving them inputs how to handle this type of situation? So this is not total curriculum, but this is beyond curriculum. This you need to be told from a different perspective that you are going to face this type of environment. You need to come out of your curriculum, think from a different angle. This need to be told. New and improved products entering the market at a very fast rate. Lead times becoming smaller. Product life cycles are also becoming. You can understand shelf life of a product is so small these days. Let's take the case of mobile. You all are having smart mobile. After every few months, new models are coming. So the shelf life of the previous model. Take the case of even let me talk of Apple. Apple 13 Plus Pro was costing around 1.5 lakhs. After 1 year period, when 14 model, Apple 14 model has come in this Pro, the cost of the previous one is not even one third sometimes. So product life cycle, because new attributes are being added to the new products. Price of products is set in the market now. Earlier it was at the house of the seller. Another scenario, prices of input resources are going up. On the other side, companies are demanding a price cut from the suppliers every year because they want optimal price for their product. This is a different scenario. Paradigm shift. On one side, input resources are going, prices are going up. On the other side, they are asking suppliers to supply at a lower price. How this will happen? We were saying that if we will go for mass production, our cost of product will come down. But now the production is customized. Small volumes of each type to be supplied by the suppliers. Another scenario, exponential growth of service sector, which was not part of the story a few years back.
Now this sector is growing at one of the fastest pace. We are not preparing our people for this sector. Another issue. I am going to compare now the world from a different angle. Earlier, I was talking of traditional market in which technology was part of story. This even slide is now, I will say, is now old. Earlier, what we were talking of telecommunication, audio taste, video, simulation, email, web project, problem solving, multimedia, CNC. Now we are going much beyond what I have written even. Mobile access, laptops, GIS, GPS system, instant messaging, wikis, blogs, MUVs, cell phones, virtual reality, robotics. Now the question is, if the changes are coming so fast, are we ready for this scenario? This is the question I'm asking you. If the changes are so fast, are we ready for this scenario? Anybody who would like to respond on it? Are we ready for this scenario? Both in terms of intellectually and psychologically. Are we ready for this scenario? I will only say we have to be ready. I'm not saying yes or no, we are ready or not. I'm saying we have to be ready because there is no choice. If we are not ready, we are going to be out of market. It's a question of survival. Like this. It's a question of survival, like this animal. At one point of time, this animal was the king of the earth. And now where it is? It has extinguished because it did not change with the time. And that is going to happen with us if we don't change with the time, if we don't perceive the change and act accordingly. So, what I'm going to talk in this presentation is the importance of creativity. And this is the buzzword for future. This is the buzzword for future. We are to make our students think from this angle, think from a different angle. We say out of box, sometimes say without box. We need to have no boxes at all. We have to come from that thought process if we want to survive. This is the part of the story I'm going to talk in this presentation. Friends, I have written two words, creativity and innovation. What exactly is creativity? आप सब हर रोज हर दिन ये वर्ड यूज करते हैं क्रिएटिविटी. क्या चीज है क्रिएटिविटी? ये जो बातें मैंने पीछे कही पिछली स्लाइड्स में, उनको अगर कोप अप करना है, उनको अगर हमने मैच करना है, we need to think from a different angle, and that different angle is called creativity. This is not a traditional thought process. This is not a conformity model. This is beyond conformity model, and that is called creativity. Creativity is process of bringing new idea into being. Every moment you are thinking of something different, and that is called creativity. A way of thinking and doing that brings unexpected and original ideas to fruition. Means we are thinking differently, we are doing differently. Only based on that, we are able to produce unexpected and original things. That is called creativity. Means creativity is a thought process. Let me make the point very clear to you. Creativity is a thought process. What exactly is innovation? Innovation is a little bit different from creativity. Now, this is action. Innovation is ability to apply creative solutions to problems and opportunity to enhance or enrich people's life. Let me tell you very important thing here. Whatever we are doing, whatever we are trying to produce, whatever we are thinking to do, the objective is to enhance or enrich the quality of people's life. That is important. Whatever we are doing, our orientation is to produce, enhance the quality of life. Innovation is the process of taking new ideas to satisfy customers. Let me tell you, again, I am taking the example of a mobile. Most of you are very young. let me talk of a scenario around 20, 25 years back. If we had to talk or telephone somebody, what was the process? Trunk call हमने करना होता था. What we had to do? We had to go to the post office many times because all were not having telephone at their landline telephones even at their places. Many of us had to go to the telephone exchange, book a trunk call, stand in the queue, and after spending some time, sometimes maybe few hours, sometimes maybe even 10 hours, 20 hours a day, our call was sometimes matured or sometimes was not matured. This was the scenario. Think at that time, if somebody standing in that row had said that after few years, we will be having an instrument with the help of which we may be able to talk to anyone from any place, anytime. What people might have said at that time. उस टाइम लोगों ने उस आदमी के बारे में क्या कहा होगा? You can very well think of it. हमारे जैसे हम जो थोड़ी सी उम्र में बड़े हैं, अराउंड 50 इयर्स वाले, उन्होंने ये सिनेरियो देखा है. At that time, if somebody has said that this thing, people might have said, ये तो he is an insane, पागल है. क्या बातें कर रहा है? हम लाइन में खड़े हैं, कॉल मैच्योर नहीं हो रही, we are unable to talk, and he is saying कुछ सालों बाद ऐसा होगा. But this happened. This happened. We had a mobile. Now, what was the basic purpose of a mobile? To talk to anyone, to your near and dears, from any place, any time. यही हमारी रिक्वायरमेंट थी, ये पूरी फुलफिल हो गई. Now we are saying satisfied customer. We were satisfied customers. Now what happened afterwards? SMS was added. Music was added. WhatsApp, many things have been added to it now. We were satisfied with just one thing, but every time new attributes are being added. What these are for? To enhance the quality of life. Although we were satisfied with the basic requirement, that was to have an instrument with which we could talk to anyone from near and dear. That's the point I am trying to say. Innovation is the process of taking new idea to satisfy. Customers are satisfied, but we are adding every time new attributes. And this process of adding new attributes is part of the process of innovation. In nutshell, you can say creativity is thinking new things and innovation is doing new things. Let me tell you, in innovation, there are 3 C's which are important. Without these 3 C's, innovation cannot happen. First C is creativity, means idea generation. Right idea generation, you may say. Second C is, this is just 5% of the total product. And the idea is just 5% of the total product. But without this, you cannot start ahead. First C, as I said, is creativity. Second C is consistency for hard work. जो आइडिया आया था उसके ऊपर हमें काम करना पड़ता है, मेहनत करनी पड़ती है. We have to sweat like anything. That may take months, that may take years, that may take decades, that may even take centuries. That is the hard work you have to put in. Then comes the product in the real form. Idea शुरू में आ गया 5% में, 95% आपकी perspiration. And then another C to make the complete innovation is commercialization. Commercialization, the purpose of commercialization to enhance the quality of life of people. ये तीनों C जब तक नहीं मिलेंगे, innovation will not be complete. So this is the point I wanted to make you clear, because many a times we deal these words almost synonymously. But let me tell you, there is a major difference between the two words. One is thinking new things, other is doing new things. In the previous slide, I am going to show you a model of innovation. What exactly is in this model? There are some ideas passing through the sieve, and after passing through the sieve, these are reaching the bottom. in the form of new products, new process. What is most important in this model? Let me ask anybody of you. If anybody would like to respond. Before becoming a process or a product or anything, what is the most important part of this module? क्या आपको सबसे important इसमें नजर आ रहा है?
Innovation.
Innovation. Innovation सीधी हो गई. सबसे important कैसे innovation होगी? सबसे important क्या है इसमें?
Climate.
Pardon?
Climate.
Okay. Anybody else?
Creative ideas.
Idea. Very good. This is the starting point. Most important, that is said. I always said earlier in my previous slide, I have 3 C's when I said. Idea is most important. Idea नहीं है तो आगे कुछ भी नहीं हो सकता. You have to spend, maybe have to spend 95% time for consistency, for hard work. But without idea, even that hard work will not work. The most important part of this model is the idea. I am showing in this model, many ideas are passing through that to become, and after going through so many ideas, we are not very sure that whether it will lead to even one new product or process, because there may be hundreds of ideas which we may have to try. We may be failing many times. Sometimes we may not get the new product, some new process. Sometimes we may get out of the hundreds or thousands of ideas, one may lead to a new product or process. One may, I am saying, may or may not is the question. But still, the most important part of the process is the idea. So we need to have more ideas. Unless we have more ideas, we cannot have the optimal idea or the feasible idea or the best idea. जब हमें नहीं पता कि इनमें से जो आइडियाज आ रहे हैं इनमें से कौन सा बेस्ट होगा फ्यूचर के लिए, we don't know. Because we have to experiment it, we have to work on it, and many of these will fail during the path of this product, new process. So unless we have many ideas, हमने एक ही आइडिया सोचा उसके काम किया वो फेल हो गया, we are nowhere. We need to have many ideas simultaneously working for the same cause. And how to get an idea, this is the most important question here. The best way, a Nobel laureate, Linus Pauling, he was a 2-time Nobel laureate. He has said what? The best way to have a good idea is to have lots of them. अच्छा आइडिया सोचने के लिए हमें पहले बहुत सारी आइडिया सोचने की जरूरत है. अच्छा बुरा तो बाद में पता लगेगा. पहले अगर हमारे पास आइडिया एक आया वो फेल हो गया तो अच्छा तो क्या रहा. अच्छा आइडिया तब बनेगा if it will lead to some new process, new product, something like that, new service even. But for that, we need to have lots of them. Now question arises, how to have lots of them? हमारे एक आइडिया नहीं आता उसके ऊपर हम वर्क करते हैं. How to have lots of them? This is a big question mark. For this, I am giving you a small exercise. I am expecting everybody of you to have your pen or pencil near you. This is a simple exercise, 1 minute exercise. I am going to give you 1 minute. List as many uses as you can for a paper cup. मैं आपसे पूछूंगा कितने यूजेस आपने लिखे 1 मिनट में दिस पेपर कप के. Kindly write it. Now I am expecting from any one of you. Anybody of you, कितने यूजेस लिखे इसके?
Yes, sir. I have mentioned, written 5 uses.
Kindly let me know.
Pen stand, wall hanging, or planter or flower pot, or I can even make a model of tabla. That
Okay.
tabla by joining these two cups and then painting it, and again we can.
Anybody else who has written different than these? ये तो होंगे, इसके अलावा कुछ लिखे हो किसी ने?
Can be used for painting. Some
for
model
painting.
you can create.
Okay. How it will be used for painting?
Some art you can draw on the surface.
On this, you want to draw something?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Good. Anybody else? Let me tell you, in 1 minute time, a creative person can write more than 10 usage. हम अपने ब्रेन को थोड़ा स्क्रैच नहीं कर पा रहे अभी. जब तक हम स्क्रैच नहीं करेंगे, क्रिएटिविटी नहीं निकलेगी आप में से. Let me ask you, what is the basic use of this paper cup? किसके लिए ये बना था?
It's a container to drink tea, coffee, water, or juice. Something like
some liquid to be put in for
that.
drinking
Yes,
purposes.
liquid.
This was the basic use. And whatever uses you have said, you as a people, all your team has said, these are different from the basic use. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Let me tell you, in creativity, there are 4 elements of creativity. I'm going to explain that part of the story now. There are 4 elements of creativity. What those 4 elements are? First is fluency. Fluency means what? Ideas based on the original concept or application. ओरिजिनल कंसेप्ट इसकी क्या थी, एप्लीकेशन क्या थी, कुछ लिक्विड डाल के पिया जा सके. वो लिक्विड अब वेरी करना शुरू किया. पहले हो सकता है इसका लिक्विड हो पानी, देन इट मे बी बॉटम के साथ इसमें कोल्ड ड्रिंक, देन सम कॉफी, सम हॉट ड्रिंक, different uses on the original concept. On the original concept, to put some liquid into it was the original concept. And ideas in this direction, coffee, tea, water, cold drink, any more, something more than this, hot drink, even maybe hot, जो आप hot drink पीते हैं, शराब, anything. These are only on the original concept. This part of creativity is called fluency. Based on the logic, ideas, whatever are there, based on the logic are called fluency. First element of creativity, fluency. Ideas based on the original concept. मेरे जो भी इसके यूज ओरिजिनल कंसेप्ट वाले हैं वो सारे कहलाएंगे फ्लुएंसी. Now comes the second part of the story. I am saying I can use it for candle mold making. Many of the uses you have said. Sometimes you have said for flower vase. Some person has said maybe used for painting. I am saying this may be used for candle making. In many such usages, this part of element of creativity is called flexibility. Flexibility. Here, ideas are not based on the original concept or application. Ideas are not based on original concept or application. But these are based on analogy. Analogy means things available in nature, similar things available in nature, similar uses available in nature. This part is called flexibility. So 2 elements of creativity, by chance I have talked now, fluency and flexibility. In other terms, these are also called linear creativity and lateral creativity. Linear creativity means working in depth, same logic. You're expanding on the same logic. That is called linear creativity. But if you are working on different logic, you are working with analogies, you are working out of box, this is called flexibility or lateral creativity. If you say, I am digging a hole, digging the hole deeper is linear creativity. Digging a parallel hole and joining the two is a lateral creativity. If you want to expand the horizon of creativity, you are not only to work in depth, but you are also to work in breadth. Because the scope of enhancement of ideas is much more in breadth rather than depth. That's the reason in today's scenario, even in technical education system, even in our NEP, which has come into picture after 2020, one of the major roles are multi-skilled institutions, multi-talented students. आपको क्या कह रहे हैं? टेक्निकल एजुकेशन भी पढ़ाइए, उसके साथ कॉमर्स भी पढ़ाइए, उसके साथ बिजनेस मॉडल भी पढ़ाइए, आपके ह्यूमनिस्टिक अप्रोच भी रखिए, बिकॉज हियर कंबाइनिंग ऑल दीज थिंग्स लीड टू बेटर क्रिएटिविटी rather than working in your only area, maybe civil engineering, maybe electronics engineering, maybe computer, because fields are expanding like anything. If you will not think in a breadth, you can't survive. आप एक मशीन ही ले लीजिए, सीटी स्कैन मेडिकल में. CT scan is consisting of so many fields, not one field. It's not only electronics, it's not only computer, it's not only medical sciences, It's combination of many fields. Unless you think in breadth, survival is becoming difficult because competitive world is there. That's the reason second element of creativity, that is called lateral creativity or flexibility, is very, very important in today's scenario. Another two elements of creativity are originality. Without originality, there is no creativity. Even if you change the things by 5% or even 1%, but there should be something novel in that, something original in that, then only it will become creative. Otherwise, it won't be creativity. And the fourth element of creativity is social value. I started in the beginning. Whatever we are doing, it should have some social value. It should enhance the quality of life. If it is not doing so, it is not creativity. Many a times I give an example here. Many of us may be having a PhD in chemistry or chemical engineering. How many of these people with this expertise are able to make a bomb? On the other side, a terrorist who may be even illiterate is able to make a bomb. Who is creative? That person is not creative because that bomb is not used for social value, so enhancing the quality of life. If our thought process is in negative direction, that is not considered as creativity. So four elements, as I said, like fluency, flexibility, originality, and fourth is social value. The mix of all these things make our system move in the right perspective. This you need to. This is basic concept of creativity. Two important terms which are attached to this are divergent thinking and convergent thinking. Divergent thinking, when we are talking, we means we are trying to generate lot of ideas, lot of options, and we are trying to make the list out of this. Means there is a green light and we are moving on that light very fast, going in diverse direction. That is called divergent thinking. Then comes the convergent thinking. Now we have the list of ideas. We are trying to judge those ideas. We are trying to assess the option. We are based on that options. We are trying to find the feasibility, practicality, cost effectiveness, and then we, based on these, we are trying to make decisions which alternative, which option is best for us. This way of thinking is called convergent thinking. Let me tell you, divergent and convergent thinking, these are two mutually exclusive mental activities. These are happening in everybody's brain. The only thing is how much stress is on one part of the story. How much stress is on divergent, how much stress is on convergent. These are to happen, but how much time is spent on which part is important for creativity. Their chronological order is very important when we are to think in which direction. आपके पास एक आइडिया है, उसी के ऊपर जज करना शुरू कर दिया, your creativity will stop. Let the ideas come. At that time, don't judge the ideas if you want to be really creative. Let the ideas come. When the list of ideas have exhausted, then start judging each one of them. Then you will be able to make better options. Otherwise, आपके जब आइडिया आया उसको सोचना शुरू कर दिया, जजमेंट शुरू है, creativity will be stopped. This happens with most of us. Here, I am trying to share two sides of a slide. On one side, there are adapters. On the other side, there are innovators. There is a difference between adopt and adapt. Adopt means copying. Adapt means trying to modify something as per your requirements. Again, gives you an example. In the past, what we're seeing, we were buying technology from the developed world. What was happening? That technology which was successful there, many a times used to fail here. Because at that time, we are adopting, means we are taking that technology and implementing it. What happens? Our constraints, our resources, our limitations, our strengths, our requirements are different from the other places. If we don't change the part of technological part as per our requirements, we may fail. So adapt is that part of the story where we are making minor modification to suit our requirements. That's the reason it was said, think globally, act locally. Act locally, think globally. Whatever way you say. You have to fit the things which was there in outside world into your own system. That is called adapting A. There are two types of people here. One are adapters, other are innovators. Adapt. We have to reach the top of the hill. For adapters, what are the paths? One or two. Either they are following the traditional steps, making minor modifications, or they are throwing the sling, they are reaching the top. There are two ways of reaching the top. But for innovators, there are no boundaries. Even in this slide, there are many methods of reaching the top of the hill. It may be through parachute, it may be through sling, it may be through the two innovative ideas at the bottom. Although you may say कि यह absurd idea है, but the same issue was raised to a person who was standing in the line of that for booking a truncal and saying that after few years we are going to have this type of instrument with which we will be able to talk to anyone from any place, any time. These are the so similar. What I am trying to seesaw. एक ने प्रेशर डाला, दूसरा ऊपर टॉप पे. Another is cannon shot. Perhaps these may look absurd to you presently. A modification to these may lead to a better solution in future, but this can happen. That's the point. And point here is not the solution. The point here is, for innovator, there is no boundary, there is no thought, there is no idea which is absurd for him. Every idea is good for him. He will experiment with every idea and then find the solution. But on the other hand, adapters are trying to move on the path of conformity. They don't have much ideas. वही traditional path है, उसी पे चलेंगे, उसी पे काम करेंगे. That's the reason the difference here is between the thought process of adapters and innovators. For innovators, there are no boundaries. For adapters, there are limited solutions only. It means there are some boundaries. There are some boundaries. Friends, let me tell you a very important part. There are two parts of a brain. Everybody is having two parts of a brain. One is called left brain, other is called right brain. I have left that exercise, which was important, linking this part of the story. But there are two parts of a brain, as I said, left part of a brain, right part of a brain. Sometimes we say left brain, right brain. And these two parts of a brain are having different attributes, very different attributes. And the most important attribute, let me make you understand. Our left brain controls our right body movement. Left brain controls right body movement and right brain controls left body movement. Ulta hai ye. Left brain controlling right body movement, right brain controlling left body movement. Left brain is verbal. Left brain is analytical. Left brain is abstract. Left brain is two-dimensional, thinks two-dimensionally. Left brain is objective. Left brain is logical. Left brain is rational. Left brain is factual. Left brain is quantitative, talks of quantity. On the other side, different attributes, absolutely different attributes. Right brain is visual. Right brain is intuitive. Right brain is concrete. Three-dimensional instead of two. Better vision, you can understand. Subjective, emotional, irrational. कोई rational नहीं है. It's not based on facts. It's based on intuition. And it's based on quality, qualitative. All of us have two parts. But how much, which part is to be used when? This is most important part of the story in creativity. Which part of the brain is to be used when? How much that part of it is to be used when is equally important part of it. We all are having ambidextrous thinking. That is called whole brain thinking. But the order in which to use which part of the brain is important. When we are thinking creatively, first use your right brain to have intuitive thought process, visual things, There is no such rational or logic at that time. Anything is possible with this part of the brain. आप जब सोए आप कहाँ के कहाँ पहुंच जाते हैं, आपके आइडियाज कहाँ के कहाँ आ जाते हैं. Those are the part of your right brain. When you start thinking about those right brain, जब आप एकदम उठते हैं, सपने से उठते हैं, तो आप उसमें सोचना ये कैसे हो सकता है, ये तो हो ही नहीं सकता, पॉसिबल नहीं है जो मेरे सपने में आ रहा था. बट जो ब्रेन है, जो सपने देख रहा है, दैट ब्रेन इज कॉल्ड राइट ब्रेन. और जो ब्रेन आपकी जजमेंट कर रहा है उस सपने की, दैट इज कॉल्ड लेफ्ट ब्रेन. दोनों इंपॉर्टेंट, एज आई सेड. Unless you have the visualization, unless you have the intuitive thought process, you can never find a solution, right solution. That right solution is found by the left brain. Logic के साथ, practicality के साथ, feasibility के साथ ये ढूंढता है left brain. So both of the parts of the brain are very, very important. But which part is to be used when is equally important. Albert Einstein has said, as I said, two parts of the brain. He's saying two minds. What are these two minds? The intuitive mind. Intuitive mind is your right brain, is a sacred gift, and rational mind is a faithful servant. We have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift. क्या कह रहे हैं ये? हमने अपनी जो सोसाइटी, किसको इज्जत देते हैं हम? जो लॉजिकली सोचता है, एनालिटिकली सोचता है, उसको हम इज्जत देते हैं. आपके बड़ा कहते हैं बड़े लॉजिकली बात करता है, बड़ा ऑब्जेक्टिव बात करता है. जो इलॉजिकली बात करता है, जो डिफरेंटली सोचता है, वी डोंट ऑनर देम, वी नेवर गिव हिम द रिस्पेक्ट. दैट इज द पार्ट अल्बर्ट आइंस्टाइन हैज सेड. We have created a society that honors the servant, faithful servant, rational mind. Rational mind is a left brain. We are giving much weightage to those persons who are analytical, logical बात करते हैं. But don't honor those persons who are having intuitive mind, that is, which they are using more, that part is right brain. That is a real gift. The maximum use, if you are able to make of that right brain, that's a gift with you. That will lead to so many new things of life. क्योंकि वो विजुलाइज करता है, वो कंक्रीट नहीं देखता, वो ना विजुलाइज करता है, उसको आइडिया देता है कि ऐसे भी हो, दिस कैन हैपन लाइक इट. वर्किंग ऑन दैट लॉजिकल इज लेफ्ट ब्रेन. ऑफ कोर्स दैट इज अ मस्ट अगेन, बट ऑर्डर इज इक्वली इंपॉर्टेंट. In today's scenario, there's a lot of knowledge. Knowledge तो आपको इंटरनेट इधर उधर से बहुत मिल जाएगा. But how to convert that knowledge is into application is the most important part of the story. And that application, conversion into that application requires creativity. Knowing content is not sufficient in itself. Rather, what we are to do, we must apply knowledge to what? Construct new understandings, solve problems, make decisions, develop products, and communicate what? Communicate trends of future. Here technology can help you out. But we are not to become slaves of technology. We are to use technology for efficiency. We are not to become slaves of technology. Why I am talking slaves of technology? We Indians in the past had a few things which were very important, which were considered great things for us. What just you must remember our children, आपकी भी होगा. We used to remember even tables. हमें tables आते 2, 4, 5, 6, even 21, 25, 30. We were remembering those tables by heart. We could make any calculation any time. Now what we are dependent on? We are dependent on calculator and similar things for small calculations even. So we are becoming slaves of technology, which is not really important, which is not really good for us. If we want to survive, technology is important. It has to be used for enhancing efficiency, but not for becoming slaves. Basically, कोई भी होगा creativity के, there are three elements, three important components of creativity. Individual creativity. Individual की creativity बढ़ानी है तो क्या चाहिए? First, expertise, which you are giving to your students. maybe in civil engineering, maybe in electronics, maybe in computer. You are giving them some knowledge of that area. That is called expertise. Second C part of the creativity is creativity skills. This is how to generate an idea. What we really mean by creativity skills, how to think differently, how to generate ideas, how to work on ideas is based on our expertise. But how to think differently, how to generate ideas is called creativity skills. Even if those two things are there with us, the third thing is equally important. That is intrinsic motivation. कुछ करने की चाह. It is generally said need is the mother of invention. अगर आपके अंदर से अर्ज नहीं होगी कुछ करने की, you will never achieve anything. So these three things meet together. Whenever these three things meet together, this lead to creativity. Expertise which you are giving, but we are not working on the second and the third part. Third part is definitely from inside, but urge has to be generated in our students to think differently, do differently. That is the part, that is our role. Now I am giving you another exercise. Some of you may have done this exercise. आपको ये आपके सामने क्या है? There are 9 dots, 9 equidistant dots. You are to do what? You are to draw 4 straight lines without retracing and lifting the pen from the paper. Means एक लाइन पे वापस नहीं जाना और एक बार जब पेन को शुरू कर दिया उसे उठाना नहीं है. आपको क्या करना है? 4 स्ट्रेट लाइनों से इन 9 डॉट्स को जोड़ना है. You have to join these 9 dots with 4 straight lines without retracing and lifting the pen from the paper. ये आपके लिए एक एक्सरसाइज है. This is an important creativity exercise. You can do it with your students. You can do it at your place, and definitely you need to do it now with yourself. क्या करना है? 9 equidistant dots. You have to join these dots with 4 straight lines without retracing. उसी लाइन पे वापस नहीं आना, backwards, and lifting the pen from the paper. एक बार शुरू करने के बाद जब तक आपका एंड ना हो जाए तब तक आपने पेपर को पेन को नहीं उठाना. Just show it to me. I think you have shown it to me. I would love to see it again. Okay. This is these are 9 equidistant dots. Very correct. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very correct. So let me show it to you. This is the solution. Why you could not do it?
Sir, because I thought crossing is not allowed.
Okay. Did I say this?
No, sir.
That's the main issue. That's called a barrier to creativity. You set your own boundaries. I have not set any boundary. I have set only 4 straight lines and you have to join without retracing and lifting the pen. That was the only condition. I never said you can't go beyond it. Now you understand you can go beyond it. Can you do it with 3 straight lines now? And let me tell you, first time this exercise with 3 straight lines was done by the students of Harvard Business School in US. This was done by them first time. Can anybody do it with 3 straight lines now? अब आपको पता लग गया मैं बाहर जा सकता हूं या जा सकती हूं, तो अपनी बाउंड्री कोई नहीं रखनी आपने दिमाग में. Can you do it with 3 straight lines now? हम जब कहते हैं ना barriers to creativity, this is the biggest barrier to creativity. Setting boundaries on your own mind. This is the biggest barrier to creativity. हम अपने प्रिंसिपल्स के हिसाब से चलना शुरू हो जाते हैं, अपनी थॉट प्रोसेस के हिसाब से चलना शुरू हो जाते हैं, अपने ब्रेन को बाउंड्रीज में डाल लेते हैं. दैट इज द बिगेस्ट बैरियर टू क्रिएटिविटी. मैं इसी को लिंक करने जा रहा हूं आगे. ये एक्सरसाइज इज ए ब्रिज बिटवीन व्हाट वी आर थिंकिंग एंड व्हाट वी नीड नॉट डू इट. Anybody who can do it with 3 straight lines? I'm showing you the solution.
So give us.
This is with 3 straight lines. After this 3 straight line, I will be asking you, can you do it with 1 straight line? This is another question to you. Can you do it with 1 straight line? Anybody of you who can think of doing it with one straight line? Let me tell you, it can be done. Even with one straight line. I said you have to touch these 9 dots. I never said in this case also okay, where you have to touch, at which point. It may be center, it may be outside. I never said. It's your thought process. And with one straight line. एक मेरे को मेरे ग्रुप में एक कैंडिडेट ने क्या कहा था with one straight line, let's have a very broad straight line with a width which will join all the 9 dots. This is one solution one person has given. Another is आप स्फीयर होता है ना, जो आप फुटबॉल या कोई भी स्फीयर ले लीजिए, उसके ऊपर 9 ये डॉट्स लगाइए and start from one end. It will never complete. It will join all the dots and this line will never be completed. This is another solution. गोल घूमते जाएंगे. It will never end. That is called another solution. There may be number of solutions for same problem. This is the beauty of creativity. And last part of my presentation is barriers to creativity. क्यों creativity में barrier आते हैं? The first and the foremost barrier is searching for one right answer. From the very beginning of our life, when we start studying in educational system, we start searching one right answer to every problem. One right answer. And let me tell you, friend, this is a bane to creativity and acts as a block to brainstorming. जब हम एक right answer पे when we become judgmental, we can't think beyond it. And this becomes a block to our thought process. From the very beginning of our career, when we start learning, we start searching for right answers. And this stops our creativity. Alternatives की बात ही नहीं करते हम. Alternatives के बारे में सोचते ही नहीं है. शुरू से हम जब कैरियर शुरू करते हैं, और आजकल की से जब मल्टीपल चॉइस हो गया तो मैक्सिमम टाइम्स राइट आंसर ही ढूंढते हैं, और कुछ चॉइस ही नहीं है. We can't think beyond it. This is biggest barrier to creativity. Focusing on being logical. वो एल्बर्ट आइंस्टाइन, लॉजिकल जितना लॉजिकल होना इंपॉर्टेंट है, but logic requires at a second stage. Being logical is valuable, but that is valuable when we are evaluating ideas and implementing them. But when we are focusing too much effort on our being logical in our imaginative phases, this is discouraging our intuition, or even I will say the thought process for creativity. Logical की जरूरत है, but at a later date, when we have got a set of ideas, then we need to be logical to find the best alternative or appropriate alternative, not from the very beginning. Blindly following the rules. This is another creativity. I say follow the rules, but don't follow the rules blindly. उसमें तो रीजन तो देखिए क्यों रूल बना. क्या whether there can be better rule, whether there can be better path. And creativity depends on our ability to break existing rules and finding new ways of doing things. If we keep on following the rules blindly, we will never find a new way of doing the things. This is another barrier to creativity. Becoming overly specialized, ज़्यादा specialized हो जाना. That is called, which I said, fluency. उसी area में बारे में सोचते रहना. We are unable to build bridges. In today's scenario, our creativity is limited. There will be boundaries to our creativity. There will be boundaries to our thought process. There will be boundaries to our limits, abilities. Being specialized is good, but over-specialized is not good for creativity. Because at that time, we become tunnel visioned. We can't think beyond what we are thinking straight away. Fearing looking foolish, LKK factor जिसे हम कहते हैं, ये सबसे बड़ा barrier है. Many a times we can think differently, but we don't discuss that idea or indicate that idea, thinking that we may be called fools. नो द सेम क्वेश्चन, वही 20 साल पहले अगर किसी ने लाइन में खड़े ये आइडिया भी ना दिया होता कि शायद ऐसा इंस्ट्रूमेंट आएगा जिसके कारण वी विल बी एबल टू टॉक टू एनीबॉडी फ्रॉम एनी प्लेस एनी मोमेंट, परहैप्स वी वुड नॉट हैव गॉट द मोबाइल नाउ। वो भी उस टाइम ये सोचता रहता कि मैं फूलिश लगूंगा, मैं ऐसा आइडिया के बारे में सोचूं भी ना, तो परहैप्स वी मे नॉट हैव गॉट दिस मोबाइल टुडे, or many such innovations which are in your head now. So come out of this thought process of LKK factor, looking foolish. लोग क्या कहेंगे? LKK factor is लोग क्या कहेंगे? Fearing mistakes and failures. Let me tell you, friends, whenever you are moving on a new path, there are chances of success 50% and chances of failure 50%. It's always there. You can always fail. But let me tell you, failure is just one pit stop to success. Failure is just one pit stop to success. अगर जो फेलियर ही नहीं आएगी तो हम सीखेंगे क्या? Failure gives you a reason to think differently. And let me give you a quote here. आपका इलेक्ट्रिक बल्ब किसने, who invented your electric bulb? Perhaps you all know is Thomas Edison. Before inventing this electric bulb, he has failed 100 times. He got successful in 100 first time. But when you become successful, people are after you. You become famous. Same happened with Thomas Edison. When he was failing, nobody was saying anything. So people were saying he's spending money, he's spending time, he's just like working as a fool. But what happened when he was successful? Everybody was after him. Media came to him and asked him a simple question. How do you feel being successful in 100 first time after failing 100 times? What Thomas Edison said at that time is more important to be understood. He said, I have not failed 100 times. I have not failed 100 times. I have learned how not to make an electric bulb 100 times. Means from every failure, I have learned something. If you will be scared of failing, if you will be scared of mistakes, you can never go ahead. And finally, believing that I am not creative. This is the thought perception of many of us. जिस टाइम आपने सोच लिया आई एम नॉट क्रिएटिव, क्रिएटिविटी आपकी उसी टाइम खत्म हो जाएगी. इट विल फिनिश इमीडिएटली. You will not be able to think beyond. You will not be able to think beyond. So these are some of the barriers to creativity which we need to avoid if we want to be successful. Few important issues I would like to say here. George Bernard Shaw, another Nobel laureate, has once said, "The reasonable man adapts himself to the world. The unreasonable man persists in trying to adapt the world to himself. Therefore, all progress depends on the unreasonable man." The person whom we call unreasonable is the reason for our progress. This is important to understand. And another important thing is here, whomsoever we are calling unreasonable means we are trying to criticize that person. We are trying to say something negative about that person. But whole of the progress is being done by these unreasonable people, whom we are calling unreasonable persons. Let me give you one example here. Because people are to criticize. The important underlying point is here, people are to criticize you, whether you are doing good or bad. If you are bothered about the criticism of people, you can never move ahead. Let me give you some example here. Who invented aeroplane? Aeroplane was invented by Wright brothers. They were working on the model of aeroplane for many months. They have spent a lot of money on that, even spent a lot of time, energy, even their happiness was linked with it. People were saying, इन्होंने इतना पैसा खराब कर दिया, इतना समय का दिया, pack of fools, because this type of model can never fly. This type of model can never fly. One day, what happened? They said, tomorrow at this time, near this river, we are going to fly this model. People gathered there. What for? To make fool of them, to laugh at them, to criticize at them, because this can never happen, they were thinking. They were standing there. Now the experiment starts, process starts. The aeroplane flies. Now, when it is flying, people are saying it will never come down. It will never come down. It also came down. That is the point I want to stress here. आप कुछ भी कर लीजिए, लोगों ने आपको criticize करना है. If you are bothered about that criticism, then you can't move ahead. Be away from criticism. That is the another key to success in creativity. Basically, if you want to enhance creativity, this leads to a few points. Ability to choose or balance attributes. Balance attributes of what? Your brain, left or right brain, conscious or subconscious brain. You are to choose or balance the attributes of these and move ahead. Practice making unusual and unexpected mental association. This is flexibility part of the creativity. Means unexpected mental association. Let me give you one example here. You all eat these potato chips. Every day you are eating potatoes and you all like it. But let me ask you, how these potato chips came into the poly packs. The first company to bring these potato chips into poly packs was Pringle. But before that, this is not the original company. Before that, this was thought over by a very small company. And the only thing they wanted to enhance their sales. And they wanted that these products should be available at every corner if they want to enhance the sales. They were thinking, किस तरह के मटेरियल में बनाया जाए जो हर जगह पहुंचाया जा सके, सस्ते से बनाया जा सके. This was the requirement. How to do it? They were thinking on it differently. They thought of polybags also. But what was happening? Whenever they used to put these dried chips into polybags and then bring it to some different places, these used to get crushed. Dry, these used to get crushed. They were searching for a solution to this problem. And let me tell you, friends, they found the solution in nature. During autumn, और आप कभी जंगल जहां पे बहुत सारे पेड़ लगे हों, जहां पे ऑटम टाइम में बहुत सारे पत्ते नीचे गिरे हों, there may be many leaves underneath those trees. Although these leaves are very dry, very, very dry, when you walk on them, they never get crushed. Why so? Even if they are dry, but still they are a little bit moist. That was the base on which they found the solution. In these polybags, what they do, they put chips in little bit moist situation. Then with vacuum, they dry it. And that's the reason आपके जो polypacks होते हैं फूले हुए मिलते हैं आपको. That's one of the reasons for these polypacks being in the blown up condition. This is the solution they found from the nature and a very small company. And this solution was sold to Pringle at a great fortune. And then Pringle brought this into the business. And that's the reason Pringle is thought to be the first company, although the company was the other one who thought of an innovative solution. If you want to do it, if you want to make unexpected, this is called NLG. Fluency part, flexibility part, which I have given you as an element. If you want to do it, you have to have information in many areas, different fields. Then you need to have skills for hard work. Based on this, you can enhance your creativity. I'm going ahead. Last part of my slide. This is the key. The key to successful creative thinking is to maintain or enact some why nots throughout your life. सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट क्रिएटिविटी का एक कंपोनेंट है, एक तरीका है. द क्वेश्चन इज टू आस्क योरसेल्फ और योर स्टूडेंट मे आस्क, व्हाई नॉट इन एवरीथिंग? Let me think up. I'm just thinking up. There is a ceiling fan at my top on the on the ceiling of this room. We have been taught the principle that ceiling fan rotates in the particular direction. Have we ever thought, or any of your students have ever asked, why it doesn't rotate in the reverse direction? If we are going to find the why nots in everything, we will think in a different fashion. And we will be able to generate so many of solutions to many of the problems which we have never thought. And this is the main issue which you need to tell your student. हर चीज में why not ढूंढेंगे. जब आप why not ढूंढेंगे, आपकी एक क्लैरिटी होगी, आपको बड़े सारे solutions मिलेंगे. You will find able to find many new alternatives which you have never thought in the past. उस प्रॉब्लम को आपने सोचा ही नहीं होगा. जब आप सोचेंगे why not से, तो you will find the solutions for those problems. Perhaps as a teacher, you may not have the answers of all those queries, but definitely you have generated an urge in them to think differently, and this urge will lead to solutions. And that is the main role which you are to play as a teacher. And lastly, I have talked of individual creativity, but if you want to enhance it in the environment of the workplace or at your institution, in addition to individual being creative, some more things are required in terms of work environment. What those are? If you are moving, if one person wants to do something, he need to be provided with some resources to achieve that cause. Experiment कर रहा है तो उसके resources चाहिए, जो भी चाहिए उसे provide कीजिए. Management practices means being with them in failure and success, thick and thin. अगर वो फेल होते हैं तब भी आप उनके साथ हैं. मैनेजमेंट की प्रैक्टिसेस, अगर सक्सेसफुल हैं तब तो आप हैं ही हैं. This type of practices, you are with them. You are not criticizing them at the time of failure. You are with them in thick and thin. That is the type of management. खुला माहौल, organizational motivation, कि कुछ कीजिए, कुछ नया कीजिए. We are with you. This type of environment. If we are able to generate this type of environment, and with the individual having expertise, creativity, skill, and definitely motivation to do something, it will lead to an environment which will be the real requirement for the future. This is all I wanted to discuss with you during this presentation.